Greetings, travelers. Welcome to my wild card review for Fractured and Alterac Valley. The idea for this one is to do short first impression reviews of each card, going class by class, and the reviews are wild specific, no regards to any other constructed formats or to arena. It's being organized in a tier list format, and here are the tiers. S tier cards are exceptionally powerful and are very likely to warp the format around them. They're probably going to be nerfed at some point in the future, too. An example of an S tier card from United and Stormwind that sees current play in Wild today is Raid the Docks. A tier cards are strong cards that may become staples or will inspire archetypes to be built around them. An example of an A tier card from Stormwind is Anatheron. B tier cards are playable cards that tend to be role fillers or tech cards. They may see common play, but they're not necessarily essential. A good example of a B tier card from Stormwind is SI7 Extortion. C tier cards are moderate to weak cards that may have fringe uses, but probably won't see play in Wild, except as memes or weird meta-dependent corner cases. A good example of this from Stormwind is Maestro the Masquerade. And finally, D tier cards are absolute unplayable garbage, like Auction Master Jackson. All of these reviews are being made in the context of the current Wild meta that exists today, where Questline, Pirate Warrior, and Odd Hunter reign supreme. Those decks probably won't exist in their current state forever, though, so I'll give some of the cards that we're reviewing today the benefit of the doubt. Another thing to keep in mind is that I haven't played with any of these cards yet. No one has except for the developers. I can't tell you with any certainty which cards are going to be good and which ones are going to be bad. Your mileage may vary. I'm doing a video for each of the classes and a video for all the neutrals, so be sure to check all of those videos out. For this video, we're starting with Demon Hunter class. Now, Demon Hunter is traditionally kind of an odd man out class in Wild, usually doesn't have very many strong archetypes, but as Demon Hunter grows, that's going to become less and less of a thing. Is Alterac Valley going to be the set, though, where Demon Hunter finally gains some real traction that isn't attached to Baku the Moon Eater? Well, let's take a look. We're going to start off with Flanking Maneuver. 4 mana, summon a 4/2 demon with Rush. If this dies, summon another. This is reminiscent of Restless Mummy, which has been fringe playable in Wild occasionally. Demon Hunter doesn't have any options quite like this, but relative to other cards in Wild, it's relatively fair and it's pretty expensive. It's not bad, but I'm not excited about it. Now, for each card, we're going to be placing it on the tier list as we review them. This card is going to be C tier. Next is Battle-Worn Vanguard, 2 mana 2/2. After your hero attacks, summon 2 1/1 Fellwings. This is a bit of a mashup of a couple of old cards, Sharkfin Fan, which is a pirate that makes 1/1 pirates, and Umberwing, which was a Demon Hunter weapon that made Fellwings. Umberwing is kind of underwhelming in Modern Wild. Sharkfin Fan sees play only because it's a pirate. Mashing those two cards together doesn't necessarily make a good card, although you could do a lot worse. It seems like another C tier card. We're going to skip Kutrus for last. We're going to do all the heroes last for each respective class. Next card up is going to be Sigil of Reckoning. 5 mana Fell spell. At the start of your next turn, summon a random demon from your hand. So this is a throwback again to Skull of the Minari. Skull of the Minari is a much stronger card than this because you get to summon demons turn after turn. This is a fair version of that. Clearly they didn't want to repeat, I guess, the mistake that they made the first time around. It's a strong effect. It allows you to turn on certain cards that combo well with like summoning big demons or something like that. It doesn't quite push power level as hard as Skull of the Minari did. I can see this seeing play in the same kind of deck that would play Proving Ground, so it's not the worst. So we're going to call this one B tier. Next up, Urzel Giant. It's a 13 mana 8/8 demon. It costs 1 less for each friendly minion that's died this game. So the kind of deck that would be able to easily enable cards like Corridor Creeper or Sea Giant would probably want something like this. Demon Hunter doesn't really have any of that, though. Giants are either really underwhelming or really, really good, and it's all contextual, right? So there's probably a context where this card is pretty good, even if this card's not good right now. So we'll call this one B tier. Alright, next up, Dread Prison Glaive. 1 mana 1/3 weapon with Honorable Kill. Deal damage equal to your hero's attack to the enemy hero. Honorable Kill is a mechanic where if you deal exactly lethal damage to a minion, you get a bonus. Some of those effects are stronger than others. This effect is relatively weak because all it really does is translate damage to a minion into damage to the enemy hero as well. The kind of decks that would want to see a card like this already have good options for dealing face damage by basically just using the Demon Hunter hero power, ignoring minions, and going face. So this card seems a little redundant. We're going to call this one D tier. Next up, Field of Strife. 2 mana spell, your minions have +1 attack, lasts 3 turns. This is a new mechanic in Alterac. They termed it the objective mechanic, where every class is going to get a spell that has lingering effect over the course of 3 turns. Demon Hunter's effect is probably pretty strong. Giving small minions the Anthem effect like this one definitely adds up over time. This seems like a card that you would play starting around turn 3, turn 4 as a kind of Savage Roar and then just continue to mount pressure. I think this is a little ambitious, but I'm going to call this card B tier. Carry a Fell Soul, 6 mana 6/6 minion with Battle Cry, transform into a 6/6 copy of a demon in your deck. I don't really see where this card goes. I don't see it as a reasonable card for the Sigil of Reckoning and Proving Ground deck, because Proving Ground can pull this from your deck. The other minion that you pull would kill this, and it would be like, it's just a bad pull. It's a low roll, right? Also, what's the high roll with this card, really? Like, I guess the high roll is Pit Commander, but there are a lot of low rolls unless you're playing a very closely curated set of demons. That deck, in my experience, just isn't very good, or it doesn't have enough tools to really get it to work. We're going to call this one C tier. So next up, Warden of Chains, 4 mana, 2/6 taunt, Battle Cry. If you're holding a demon that costs 5 or more, gain +1/+2. This card's pretty underwhelming. Having a card that requires really expensive cards to work, where the card does not allow you to play those really expensive cards early, is usually kind of a bust. We're going to call this one D tier. Alright, next is Flag Runner. 3 mana, 1/6. Whenever a friendly minion dies, gain +1 attack. This reminds me of Darkshire Councilman, which used to be playable, but hasn't been playable in a very long time, which means it's probably also not good. D tier. Alright, bringing up the rear, let's talk about the hero card, Kutrus Demon Render. 6 mana hero. Battle Cry, summon 2 X4 demons with Rush, where X is the number of times you've attacked +1. The hero power for Kutrus is Ashfallen's Fury. 1 mana, give your hero +2 attack. After a friendly minion attacks, refresh this. I've seen some combos that involve like finding ways to make chains of spells that activate this multiple times, and I don't think any of those combos are viable. I don't think the hero power is bad. It doesn't seem very exciting on the surface without some ridiculous combo. If you have a lot of mana, you play Kutrus with the demons, use the hero power, gain 2 attack, attack with a demon, gain 2 attack, attack with a demon, gain 2 attack. You can do attack for 6 in the same turn. Probably clear the board a little bit. You could do worse. As an on-curve play, it's a lot like the Shaman Galakron, where you're getting little rush minions. This is about the same size as like a mid-tier Shaman Galakron on average, but it's 1 less mana. That means it's probably playable if you can get the rest of the deck to work around it, but it's not really that exciting. Definitely not top tier. But we're going to call Kutrus Demon Render C tier and Wild. That's it so far for Demon Hunter. So far, I'm not really that impressed with any of the cards. Nothing really stands out as a meta breaker. We're definitely interested in playing with cards like Sigil of Reckoning, Urzel Giant, and Field of Strife. Everything else is kind of middling. The hero card Kutrus doesn't really stand out as being that exciting. It's probably a thing that will be explored, but I don't expect it to shake up the meta. For the next video, we're going to be covering the Druid class. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.